All right, friends, full disclosure, this episode of the Cruise Pod, it's a little bit different. And honestly, I think it's one of the more important episodes I've done. Because while the cruise world loves to speculate, wink, wink, nod, nod, and toss pineapples into every conversation, there is a real subculture here that very few people, me included, actually understand. And it's one that brings out every reaction, from curiosity to judgment, fascination to fear, to outright condemnation. But what if we stepped behind the assumptions? This week, I sat down virtually with a couple who has been cruising for years and who's part of a lesser known but very real community. Those who cruise as part of what they call the lifestyle. You've heard the rumors, the flamingos, the pineapples, the door magnets, the winks, the whispers about theme nights, and the cryptic Facebook groups. But this couple, married for 13 years, together for over 16, graciously agreed to answer everything, no holds barred, anonymously and honestly. And what they shared just might surprise you. Let's just say, I definitely learned some things. Now, before we go further, let me say this clearly. First of all, I am not a lifestyler. I am a loyal monogamist. I only have eyes for my man. I could never do this kind of lifestyle at all. But I am a naturally curious person. I want to know everything about everything. And I know that this is kind of a taboo cruise topic that a lot of people joke about, but they don't honestly talk about. I also want to say this is just one couple's experience. I put my question out to my Facebook community asking people what questions they have, and a lifestyler weighed in to say, hey, you're gonna get different answers. Ask 100 lifestylers about the lifestyle and you'll get 100 different answers. And they're absolutely right. This is a deeply personal space and no single story represents the whole. Now, some of you have told me you're not happy I'm covering this topic at all. To the lady who took time to email me to tell me that I was shameful for even covering this topic and telling me that this lifestyle is dangerous and destroys families, I hope that you are watching this episode and I hope that you have a willingness to learn. Because in my opinion, let willing, consenting adults do what they want to do and live life the way they want to live, even if it's not the way that you would choose to live it. But I do hear you. And I want to be clear, this episode is not about promoting a lifestyle, nor is it about dismissing or condemning a lifestyle. It is about strictly educating, demystifying, and giving people a respectful, reality-based lens on a topic that is all too often reduced to jokes and innuendo. So whether you're curious or cautious, I invite you to listen with an open mind, and as always, please be kind. Let consenting adults be consenting adults. I'm Melissa, a university professor who loves to cruise and who loves to talk ships, so let's get into it. They call themselves lifestylers, not swingers, not pineapple people, at least for this couple. And for them, the lifestyle is about openness, trust, and carefully chosen connections. Symbols like upside down pineapples or color-coded accessories, I've learned, shockingly, they're actually more about folklore than fact, especially for this pair. They don't use signals, they don't knock on doors. What they do is they talk, they plan, and they connect in private groups, usually before ever even boarding the ship. Now, I had a lot of misconceptions. This is why I was always curious about the lifestyle. I've seen the upside down pineapple magnets on doors. I've had a lot of questions of, what if a lifestyler walks down the hall? They see the magnets. They're like, oh, I'm into that. Knock, knock, knock. The person opens the door. What if it's not their type? Do they get invited in? What happens? I kind of want to know. But at least according to this couple, a lot of this is folklore. They explained that cruise-based lifestyle communities usually form online well before the sailing, usually on Facebook groups. Someone will post the cruise date and ship, and those that are interested in this lifestyle can just start chatting it up. And for them, it is not about spontaneity of a random knock, knock, knock on the door, but rather it's about feeling aligned. Chemistry matters. It's just like single monogamous people dating. You're not just gonna go connect with any random person. You have to be attracted to them. You have to have chemistry with them. And here, respect matters more. Now, as I said, you've probably heard the stories, door magnets, pineapples, flamingos, loofahs. They've heard them too. But in their experience, these are more myth than method, especially those pineapples. In fact, this couple, as much as they cruise, has never seen one in real life. I've seen it maybe 3 times myself, and I'm always kind of unsure at this point if that's even a real swinger couple or lifestyler, or if it's just a joke. And the couple does attest that in most cases, people with upside down pineapple print or even decorations are usually doing it as a joke. Now, they shared a system that they've seen online, color-coded loofahs that some groups use to indicate comfort levels. But again, this couple doesn't personally use it, but they know of others who do. For this couple in particular, direct, respectful conversation is going to win out over cryptic symbolism or things that may not even mean anything for people that don't know any better. every single time. And with these conversations comes etiquette, real, structured, and unwavering. They never approach someone's partner without full awareness and consent from both partners. They set boundaries early, and no means no. And they walk away from anyone who's creepy and/or does not follow those rules. Now, one of the biggest misconceptions that they wanted to correct is that this is about casual encounters or reckless, shameful behavior. For them, it's the opposite. They're cautious, they're intentional, and their top priority is protecting their relationship. And this brings me to a part of the interview that I did not expect. Just how much the lifestyle has deepened this couple's personal connection. They talked and shared about eye contact, check-ins, and post-connection rituals that bring them back to each other as a married couple. They have a structure and a softness in everything they do. Now, again, for me, I could never do that. It's not of interest to me. I would have too much jealousy. I just couldn't do it for a million reasons. But I have respect for the way that they choose to live their lives. Now, of course, it hasn't always been smooth sailing on the seas. They've had their share of uncomfortable moments, but even then, they focus on staying gracious, a polite but firm no, a clear boundary, a redirect. They say the most successful lifestylers are the ones who know how to be kind, even when declining, because nobody wants to hurt anyone's feelings in any capacity. Now, I wanted to know, why cruising? Why is this so associated with the cruise industry? And they say, well, it's the perfect combination. You've got that mix of escape, excitement, and convenience. You meet people from all over the world you'd probably never meet otherwise. And you share this space on a ship that feels carefree. And if you want to disappear for a bit, it's pretty easy on a big old cruise ship. Add in a few packaged drinks, a hot tub, and the vibe can become downright electric. Now, that being said, their lifestyle is not exclusive to cruising. They claim that they are active year-round at clubs, on apps, through private gatherings, at home, and actually other places on land, but cruising is for them a highlight. There's just something about being at sea, they said, that makes everything feel more possible. And for those wondering about health and safety, this was also a question I had. For this couple, it is not negotiable. They always use protection, absolutely no exceptions. Even if someone offers their test results on paper or digitally, they stick to this rule. For this couple, safety and trust go hand in hand, and they don't take risks with either one of those. To anyone curious but hesitant, their advice was refreshingly grounded. Start small, talk honestly with your partner, go slow, and don't pressure each other or yourselves. They believe fantasies can bring couples closer, but only if it's explored with care, clarity, and mutual respect. And I wanted to know, how do you deal with all the judgment, the jokes, the memes? I cannot go on a cruise group without somebody joking about the upside down pineapple, making fun of lifestylers, snide comments, saying it's shameful, they're gonna go see the devil, all this kind of stuff. And they're actually pretty okay with it because they think most of it just comes from curiosity or maybe discomfort, but rarely it comes from understanding. And that's why they agreed to share their story. Because for them, the lifestyle is about connection, not chaos. And it's definitely not what the internet makes it out to be. So the next time you see someone wearing a pineapple shirt on embarkation day, maybe give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they don't even know what that means in cruise culture symbolism, and maybe they do, but who cares? Let adults be adults. And maybe, just maybe, ask yourself why that symbol has become such a conversation starter in the first place. What does that say about our society and the way we approach sensual relationships? Now, I know this episode wasn't meant for everyone, and that's okay. But if it helped replace a few assumptions with some insight and actual education out of a genuine curiosity to understand other people, then I think we're doing something right.